This is a good example of how you can use more than one skill in a reading. It's both astronumerology and it's also pinnacles and challenges. And I'll show you how we're going to do this. Now, if somebody's born on September the 17th in 1951, if we add up the 9 and the 17, we get a 26-8 achievement, as you see right here. And in 2016, they're in a 9 year, because 2016 is a 9 year. You add up the 16 and the 2, and you get 18-9. So if we use the 9 for the year and the 26 achievement, we add 26 and 9, we get 35 for the first pinnacle. Then we add 35 and 26, and we get 61 for the second pinnacle. The third pinnacle is these two pinnacles, 35 and 61, added together, which brings it to 96. And then you add 35 and 9, and that's 44. So what you're adding is the year. First you get the achievement, and the year is the cycle they're in, which is normal. We've been doing that. And it would cover any year that you're looking at. And then people have a certain life cycles, the pinnacles and challenges, which we already went over, and life, which is the major turning points in life. But now we're doing a year. So we took 2016 as an example, and we said it's a 9 year. So then we're adding these two, and we're coming up with 96, and then we're taking the 35 and 9 for the year, and that gives you 44. So they're in a financial cycle. Now, if we followed the same thing with astronumerology, we put all their ones, the 3 ones that they have, there's 1, 2, 3, in the 8 column, because they're in an 8 year. And then there's no 2s, no 3s, no 4s, 1, 5, no 6s, 1, 7, no 8s, 1, 9. So funny enough, if you notice 5, 7, 9 across here, they have the arrow of emotional balance, which means they don't feel like somebody's trying to steal from them or do something to them or subrogate them in any way. And they have a pretty strong arrow going up on the right column. I mean, it's not full, but there's 4 numbers there, which is a lot considering that they have 7 numbers. 4 of them is there, and that's one of action. So they have the arrow of emotional balance and action going for them. And what they're thinking about is the 5, which is changing things. And the change has to do with either some relationship or a trip, because the 5 is Mercury. It could have something to do with a Gemini or a Virgo or somebody born on the 5th, 14th, or 23rd of any year. And they're thinking about a trip. And if you notice, there's a 7 in the 5 column. So it could be something to do with a water place or something like that. And in the 7 column is a 9, which means they're trying to. It either has to do with a public function or they're trying to get things done, but they feel pretty good about it because they have the arrow of emotional balance. So here we combine 2 skills for 1 year. We looked at the pinnacles, and now we also look at the challenges, which we'll go over in a minute. But we also did the Kai-Shidi astronumerology just for 1 year. So, it has the same meaning as it does, for a lifetime. But now you're applying it to 1 year. Now, what we did was we take 26 minus 9, and you get 17 for the first challenge, which means there's a money situation happening, top and bottom. And they're very challenged by it, by straightening it out. It's either property, assets, legal, or an insurance matter, or something like that. Or it could be the disposition of property, if it isn't actually a legal matter per se. And that would include the first quarter of the year, because there's 4 pinnacles, this would be 3 months of the year. The next pinnacle is 3 months and 3 months and 3 months. So when you talk about a year and 4 cycles, you're talking about 3-month increments. The next cycle has to do with minusing 26 from 35, and you get 9. And the idea is to finish things. And if you notice in the plus column, they have 61. It's finding out things or learning things, or there's a medical or a health matter or educational matter going, and they want to get something finished or completed. Now, when you subtract 8 from 9, you have 1. So the third quarter of the year, which would be September through, or let's see, June through September, that would be your third quarter of the year. There would be a money challenge, or there'd be a concern over a meal, M-A-L-E, and there would be some kind of decision. There's a family thing going on because you have 96, which is a 6 when you reduce it by addition to one number, and there would be a decision and concern over a family member or male or a financial matter, because the 1 can stand for independence, money, finances, making a new start, and the 96 definitely has something to do with property or living conditions. Now we look at the final quarter, which is September through December, and you have both an 8 on the bottom and the top. So again, it's almost like the beginning of the year, the 35 and the 17. They wind up with the year in the first and the last quarter with a bunch of financial stuff happening. So this is the way you can combine 2 different skills, astronumerology and Pinnacles and Challenges, to even 1 year. And if you wanted to do a month, you merely, if it was March, you would add a 3 for the third month. If it was June, you'd add a 6 to it. So if we wanted to do June, we would go 9 and 6 is 15, and it would come back to a 6, and you'd work with the 6 number, because you combine the year and the month to one single digit, the lowest digit by addition. I used to say the lowest digit by reducing, and it confused people. You're reducing by adding. 35 becomes 8, 61 becomes 7, 96 becomes 6, and so forth and so on. 44 becomes 8. But this is how you can combine very different skills into one unique little setup. Pinnacles, challenges, kai-shi, cycles, and it gives a heck of a lot of information.